Assalamu alaikum, everyone. My name is Nailah Wms Abdullah, and I'm your host for today's Cultural Insights, along with A New Day for Al Islam Community Radio with producer William Kareem, who is also a host here as myself on America Muslim 360. And we're going to begin with the AM360 disclaimer. The content of the broadcast is general information and community purposes only. Views expressed by hosts or guests are their own and not necessarily the official position of AM360 or its parent company, Community Watcher Friends Inc., SC, or its board of directors. Content is not designed to provide specific and medical, financial, legal, counseling, or other professional advice. No liability, explicit or implied, shall extend to the hosts, AM360, or CWSC. We encourage you to consult an advisor for your specific circumstances. We'll be connecting now with A New Day for Al Islam Community Radio. Again, I'm Nailah Wms Abdullah. And one moment here. Let's go and let's connect with William Kareem and Kivel Equon.
Yo, man, I'm looking at it. I mean, it's cold, right? It's cold. It's just, but it's bad. Like this, like, but this is the one where Randall passed it to him, right?
Of course, we are discussing basketball.
Randall and son. This dude it's too much on him. So let me see what the other one is. Both of them is on but he was already under the basket though. I mean, he was just on the basket. You shouldn't jump. You shouldn't jump out. That's important. Don't jump. You should not jump. If you know that you are under the basket and the man is 3, you just got to wait. No, you're going to try to jump and get it. But that's his job. It's his job to do that. He's going to try to block him. You might get lucky. Listen, I'm telling you, man, I like football now. And let me tell you, in terms of my content, on the social media platform, poster or not, you like on my platform. And I'm always doing that. And I will say this to you, ladies and gentlemen, that I have watched Kivel play basketball for many years. And Kivel is one of those that stands under the basket and will try to dunk on you. He will try to score on you under the basket. He's going to thumb. He's going to thumb the point. Basket. Now, people, I'll tell you this story. When I was working at this school and I meet a guy, man, who is now one of my friends. Right? So we always talk about basketball, and I'm a little bit old at that when I meet him. So, I can still play, but I'm not flying through the air, doing all the crazy athletic stuff. I'm more experienced to understand what I can do. So, um, I find out he is the cousin of someone who knew who grew up with me from my early days, as a child. And so he mentioned my name, and the first thing the person said to his cousin said to him is, "Yo, that was nice. Yo, he used to fly through the air crazy. Yo, he comes back to me, he just wanted to leave. I just had a crazy experience." Yeah, the cooking experience for me is it's real, and you flows out because of basketball. It's a natural thing. But yeah, I love ball, man, and I just think that when you look at a dunk like this, and any dunk, it has to have some ferocity to it, and it really has to have. Oh yeah, he was an enemy. Yeah, you're right. I agree. Like, I don't think so. Bear don't even play with that kind of energy, really. I mean, he's not that type of guy. Charlie made it crazy and he dumped it on like that. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, let me just say, you can out my Instagram. My Instagram is also Instagram.com / Mr. Kivel, right? MISTERKIVEL. You can go there and you can check out the poster online. You can go check out, right? You can go poster online. You can also follow me there and check out the stuff that we do here. We definitely put up posts online. That's our friend Instagram. Also,
Okay, it's coming through a little muffled. Assalamu alaikum. I'm wanting to get that clearly. Yeah, I'm trying to get it clear. It was coming through a little muffled on my phone, and I have the two phones operating, so I didn't. What do you call it? Have the echo. So if you can repeat your Instagram information. I don't know if you're moving away from your base or you're using some ear device, but it was just coming through a little muffled on. By the time it got down to Florida.
You want to give them my information? Give them the information real quick. The information on what?
On Instagram for Kivel.
Yeah, my Instagram. Give her the information on Instagram. Well, I gotta pull up the Instagram in order to do that.
Well, I did hear him say Instagram / Kivel, Mr. Kivel, MISTERKIVEL. That I did hear. And then the YouTube, that's when it really was. The YouTube is
the same.
Oh, alhamdulillah.
Yeah.
Okay.
You'll see, I mean, and creative too. They're creative shorts that he does. I mean, they're very artistic. This guy, man, is definitely artistically inclined, as far as doing this here. You could go to his shorts, all of his shorts. You go to his videos. Yeah. Watch it, you can set everything out. Everything is gonna be again collaborative between as we do here on the show. Everything we do here, you're gonna see those segments expanded a little bit over there on my platform. And so it's great to have you give that information out and we can continue moving forward again with Real Quick Sports right here on the your cultural insight and of course coordinated with American Community and the market. We were just talking about post another segment of the service and we don't continue that then we're gonna see if you start recognize the you can send me a public comment. If you show something that really watch that message. You think you're doing something that post on send it over, man. Let's get into this, Okay, yeah, we got enough for you with the great family, the people with my content.
Okay, everyone, because we're getting muffled indication here.
early, but I think we can take a look at these NBA guards. He's talking about Brunson and he's talking about Steph Curry. Brunson, he just had 40 last night in the win over Orlando. He's 5'10". He's 5'10", has 40. And we also just got another record. I think the most 30-point games by a New York Knicks. I think he's like moved into like third or second place. Just only a few years these big years. And Steph Curry, of course, from Houston. You know, these small guys are made. Yeah, these small guys are amazing, and they have really, conquered the idea of shooting the basketball, especially when they get to their place. That's one of the things that's really good about SGA. It's the same thing that's with Jalen Brunson. Jalen on the Celtics, the same thing with them. I mean, they get to their spot, it's over. Once they get to their spot, it's over. That's what's unique about Curry is that Curry can shoot from any place on the 3-point line, the half court, all of that. That's what they said. They can't do that. But Curry is interesting. There's another thing too. Again, come back to something that I think is making the NBA better is there is a brotherhood. Before, when you had a lot of these teams here where they had a mafia team, right? And so the NBA is like movies where today you do have rivalries. A lot of these guys have grown up playing basketball against one another, especially in youth periods when they're young players. So, they've experienced a lot of basketball playing with one another or around one another. So there was a different level of respect. They know each other's mothers and fathers, and brothers and sisters. And of course, not everybody, but there is a large number of individuals now playing in the NBA who, really kind of honor and respect one another rather than, get close towards one another. So we do get a better product because they are excited to each other. It's still super competitive, wanting to do the best they possibly can be. Yeah. It's like, it's definitely more of a brotherhood. And like I said, at the end of the game, these guys look for each other so that they can, give each other a hug, good game, what's going on, how you been and all the rest of that. They do that. That's the same thing with football too. They do the same thing in football, a good game. So the rivalry type thing is there, but it's more like, we competing against each other. That's what we're doing. And because at one time that was a principle of the game of basketball. Hating your opponent was key to becoming great. You became great because you hated the other team, the other city, the other, everything about them. Yes. And so that has changed. That's what we're talking about as far as the evolution, because it's more now about the strategy of playing defense, the strategy of playing offense. The skill set has elevated in the players. And like we were talking about how the younger players are coming in, and with younger players coming in, it's more about the speed, the ability to wear down. To wear down the other team as far as, how many minutes is it? Can you run for 40 minutes? Can you run 48 minutes? For 48 minutes? Can you run 48 minutes? Because when you watch basketball, and what you see is once the basket is scored, they will run down to the other side. It's not like, I scored the basket now, I'm gonna walk down. No. Once they score the basketball, they run down to the other side. Once the basketball has been scored, the team takes it out and tries to get it down to the court as fast as they possibly can. So it's speed. And here we highlight this now. We gotta highlight the negative part of that, right? So what has happened is there have been a number of injuries, and we can kind of highlight some. These players, really are important to their team. But because of the speed, because of the strength, because of the, as you said, the up and down pace and the guys move, injuries are bound to happen. And so you got Evan Mobley, from the Cleveland Cavaliers. He's out 2 to 4 weeks with a calf injury. Evan Mobley, 7-footer, defensive stalwart at the same time, top threes. A really important part of what they do out there in Cleveland out 2 to 4 weeks. Derek Lively the same. He might have season ending foot surgery. Derek Lively, really good player, trained him how to do that, but has had injury problems. Yes, so it's probably here that he might have this situation on the forefront. Greg Van course, we moved from the beginning of the season. We're going to be out with the ACL.
What does ACL stand for?
Something I'm going to have to look it up. Just give me 1 second.
You go, keep on going.
Okay, yeah. We also want to look at Giannis. Giannis has been in a situation where he needs to be out for a couple of weeks, man. Let me just hop in and look at Giannis right now. Giannis, it looks like he has something going on with his calf. He has calf injury, so it looks like it'll be 2 to 4 weeks. So that Giannis will be out. They expect that he'll be out until December 31st.
Yeah, now an ACL is an anterior criticate ligament. It's a critical strong band of tissue in the knee that connects the thigh bone to the shin bone, preventing from sliding too far forward and providing rotational stability. With an ACL injury referring to a stretch or a tear, often from sports, causing pain, swelling, and instability, sometimes with a popping sound.
Yeah, so, usually when players have an ACL injury, they're going to be out for the year. And that is also what happened with, was that Jason Tatum? He ripped his Achilles, right? It was his Achilles that he ripped, not his ACL. The ACL is the knee. What about that? I think believe was a knee injury. But we also have players like LaMelo Ball, who's out with an ankle injury. Joel Embiid, who is in with his knee, as always. Austin Reeves is right now out with a calf injury, so he's recovering. And he's out with an ankle sprain. And so it's more so day-to-day stuff that's going on. But we do have some serious injuries that exist. Has given some guys. Even let me mention this too. Before we get out here, we have 5 more minutes left in this. Before we move on to, let's talk real quick. Our weekly focus on hip hop and hip hop components is through the adult show. So stick around for that. We'll talk about Black Thought. We're gonna also talk about who spawned some really great soul music during the 90s and 2000s. Also, we're talking about an incredible artist, who passed away. But stick around. Let's talk real quick. This is coming up in our 12 o'clock hour. Right now, let's finish up with this last format on Real Quick Sports with me and, of course, Papa Doc. It's just a month and American Muslim 360 family. Right now, as you just mentioned, without a shadow of a doubt, that there has been so many incredible games really still right now. In the last to close out that you have chosen a favorite that you someone who you've already tagged on to it. Like, this is going to be my team, and I'm going to run with them all the I'm not a big fan, but I wonder if you've chosen somebody as you started watching that season.
Well, I'll tell you, one of the players that I'm really impressed with this year, because he's been around for a little while, but, what I really remember about him is that his name is Fox.
Which one? The Arian Fox?
Huh? Yes.
Arian? Yeah, from Spurs. Yes, I've really been impressed with him. Yeah, I was impressed with him for a long time. Just on the basis of his name. But the thing is that like he's got a smooth, he's got a cool name, but like he can produce. He has continued to produce. So I'm definitely watching him. I think that he does a lot. He brings a lot to the Spurs. And with Wembanyama also, I'm watching him. I'm watching him as he continues to evolve. But I think that they have a really good team. The Spurs have a really good team. Yeah, but I think that Fox was a very good addition. Another one was the other guy that plays for the New York Knicks, who let me see. It's not Jalen Brunson, but it's I forgot his name. Anyway, who Hart is not one, but the other, huh? Bridges, yes. Bridges has been impressive to me also because he's very consistent. And Harden has been consistent also. But, I've really been impressed with Bridges. When I see Bridges get the ball, I was like, yo, it's done. That's when I see Bridges, I was like, yo, it's done. He going to make it happen, and he's lived up to that. He's lived up to that. And that 7-footer they have, the guy from Haiti, Carl Anthony is good, man. He doesn't have the best look at all, man. But he, he's a thug. He can get real thuggish, man. When he gets the ball, he can get real thuggish.
You know exactly what you mean. His game is not pretty. His game is not pretty. Not at all. His game is effective. His game is effective. Right. With that, we're gonna say thank you for joining us for another real quick sports show right here from 11 to 12 p.m. on a New Dish Community Radio. With me, Mr. Kivel, and of course, Papa Dow and Mr. Marquez. We have a big conversation coming your way right now on the 12 o'clock hour. We're going to jump into that.
Your sound isn't as clear as it can be, man. Is there something that you can do about that, about your sound that's coming through? Your sound is, a little muffled, and we want to make sure that everybody gets everything that you're saying. That's what we want. We want to get everything that you're saying, especially in this next segment of the quick hitters, especially as when it comes to this hip hop situation, because we've been discussing sports right now, but we're getting ready to go into the culture of hip hop in America, which is something that the African American culture has brought forward, and now it is something that it's all over the world. Yeah, it's all over the world now. It's a lot. Yeah, I know how that makes sense, but there's a lot. Yeah, Jamila. Yeah, Kivel, go ahead and say something. Let me see what you sound like.
What's going on, Papa? Better?
Oh, okay. You can turn up your volume a little bit, man. We'll really be on top of it, man. You know what I'm saying? Let's hear it. Test 1, 2, 3. Okay. Well, not that much, man. We hear you clearly, but we don't hear you loud enough. I've got my volume all the way up. So Kivel is getting that taken care of. Okay. You getting ready to get into it? Let's hear it. Test 1, 2, 1, 2. Check it out. Check it out. Check it out. Yeah. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Check it out. Check it out. Check it out. Yeah. Let's hear you, Val. It says Kivel, no audio. Right now it says Kivel, no audio. Okay. So we don't have any audio coming from Mr. Kivel right now. Okay. We got Mr. Kivel now. Yeah. Let's hear you, Kivel. Well, you were on. Okay. Okay, so you got it?
There you go. There you go. Bang, bang, bang.
Oh, so I have to call in. Oh,
Okay, so
Oh, that sounds much better. Alhamdulillah.
yeah.
let me get into it. I can put my headphones in. Can I? It still sound good?
Yeah, it sounds good. It sounds. Let me go ahead. Say something else again.
Does it still sound good?
A little muffled, a little bit. A little bit.
But we hear the words very clearly.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, you know, as long as I can be heard.
But here we go. We get ready to go into real quick. Real quick. The quick hitters experience with Mr. Kavel. Here we go.
Oh man, listen, man.
That's right. You already know. Words of power. Words of power. Say it.
You already know. You do the whole hour. You let me go the whole hour sounding like Max Headroom.
Yo,
It's
he was in.
Oh man. Yes. I love it, man. I love it, man. Oh, what a great day, man. Listen, thank you everyone for sticking around for our technical difficulties. We are about to jump into Let's Talk real quick. This is where we talk about our hip hop groups and discuss great bands, great artists, quotes from those artists. We talk about graffiti and we talk about dance, which are part of our components. Why is that such an important thing? Well, it's important because I have a hip hop themed educational program. It's called the Quick Hitters Experience. It's the Quick Hitters Educational Experience. And if you wanted to check out more on that, we'll make sure that we get the website out to you a little bit later. It's the quickhittersexperience.com. I'm sure you'll be able to put these tags up somewhere. You can check them out. Excuse me, whether that's on the site. You post on the site. Your Facebook site, yeah?
Huh? Do I post
On your Facebook site?
Yeah, every once in a while, I usually share. I share. So I share, the things that you do, things that.
Oh, please make sure to share the .com so people can go by and look at what it is you do with the educational program. It's truly amazing. Well, that's kind of what we do here on Let's Talk Real Quick. We mimic the 5 components of hip hop. And so the first component of hip hop is DJing. That's the foundation of the MC of hip hop. And so we mimic that by giving you quick hits, where we share 5 songs from our favorite artists or some artists that we believe you'd like to check out. So that's the correspondence. We put it together like that, the DJ and quick hits. That's our foundation. So that's component number 1. We have the MC component, which is next, which is our quick quotes, where we talk about a MC and their lyrics. So it mimics the same thing. It's an opportunity to check out lyrics the same way you do from an MC. And then you've got b-boying. B-boying is where we talk about dance, and that's how you dance, where we talk about an artist or a group of dancers or a dance style that has, its roots or connection to hip hop. So it's to these components, right? DJing, quick hit, MCing, quick quotes, b-boying, you dance. And then we get to graffiti, which is our art is not a crime, where you get an opportunity to, see or hear about an artist who does a visual art, whether that's on the wall or that's on the canvas, or sometimes we might even jump into a movie or a show just based on the visual art. And so graffiti is that other component. And then we've got knowledge, of course. That's where we have our conversations with one another, like what we're doing right now. We're spreading the knowledge about those particular components of hip hop. And so, again, the reason why this show kind of exists is to mimic those components: DJ and MC and b-boy and graffiti and knowledge, which are 5 components of hip hop that we also teach within our educational program, the Quick Hitters Experience Educational Program. Which you can,
in the checkout. And you know, and you know me, and you know this. My name, Islam is my religion, Kareem is my name, original Muslim birthright. I claim the trade propagating the religion is a sublime endeavor, crisscross the country, singing birds of a feather. That was one of the first hip hop songs it was the first hip hop song that we actually did in the community of Imam W.D. Muhammad. And so, here it is, to have an understanding of these five components of hip hop, it is part of the evolution. We talked about evolution. We talked about evolution in basketball. There's evolution as far as hip hop is concerned. The five components are evolving. You see these dancers getting even better than they are. You see the lyrics getting even better. You see the design as far as graffiti, or you see that getting better. I mean, it's with all of these improvements, this is what the future is about. Don't let this pass you by. The reason why we have to show is to keep you informed on this idea, so that as pioneers, you know what's the who's, the do's that don't, and the do's that do. Go ahead, Janelle. That's right. That's right. And also it's an opportunity to continue to build that bridge, as we talk about, right? Building a bridge where the voice is there for the voices. And it is clear that there is a line that is directly from the roots of music here in this country, especially Black America, right? There's a straight loop that goes back and then pulls from other cultures, obviously from other cultures, but that rhythm, that energy, that vibe, that pull, right, is here. And we've been blessed to be a part of that. And so we share in this show some of the stuff that we know is sometimes racy, some of the stuff that we know sometimes may be challenged or confront some of the morals or beliefs that people have, in our chats and on our listening stage. But that's because you need to see and understand where it is that some of those grandchildren or children or nieces or nephews or neighbors, where they're coming from, and so you can identify it, whether or not it's something you to be concerned with, or it's just an expression. Because a lot of it is just expression. The same way that, people express themselves in the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s as children with something that they loved, and their parents may not have gravitated to it the most, but it was something that they really enjoyed. And again, that's what we bring here. We want people to understand the five components of hip hop, and we're again using that to educate young people, and it works. It really does. And you can see it. Like, we go check out thepicketersexperience.com, thepicketersexperience.com, where we have some stuff up there that you can check out and share with other folks about how hip hop works for our community, not just destroys, but works for our community. With that being said, let's talk real quick. Yeah, and don't forget, brothers and sisters, that Islam is about the lyrics. That is Islam. In that, Nasrullahi wa Fakhraita Nasi, بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين تبت يدا أبي لهب وتب ما أغنى عنه ماله ما كسب سيصلى نارا ذات لهب وامرأته حمالة الحطب في جيدها حبل من مسد. So it's about the lyric, it's about the rhythm, it's about the lyric. Even in Islam. So don't think that this is something that's new. This is an elevation. This is an elevation of what you're doing, and that's how we should look at it. Or I keep a level head and think clearly. Don't let the things scare me. I know the law is in me, the angels is near me. They steer me away from juries, joyous and mothers. Want to hear me, then trying to forgive me. I'm unforgettable, indelible, styles is immeasurable. On pedestals, the eternal saying venture to is higher learning. You were in the fire burning, can't fly in the skies. You will die in the darkness with the vermin while we conquer our demons and raise them. develop. You can clean your dream and new days you can village as your trainers develop. So my time's taking the way like end of the McConnell. My limits have a strong mind, stop to the finish. I mean, listen.
Lord, and that's what you're going to hear from your children, and that's what you're going to hear from
We love ramen. We love ramen. We love ramen.
that's on. Ask your children to tell you one of them rhymes that they already made up. Some of y'all might have made up some rhymes already. And I want you to know that you're welcome to come on and kick your rhyme right here on the Quick Hits Experience.
Mine is so I, Martha Jane, can't be proven insane, for I'm too inclined to the things in my mind. 3 children I bore, and I'm not ashamed, for they each will bear their father's last name.
Talking about, that's what I'm talking about. And the market is smiling up the storm more because it's just feels good. It's cold, but it feels good, and we sharing that. And this is what we try to do right here on Let's Talk Real Quick, is sharing the components of hip hop and the joy that it brings. Let's not forget that a real big part of what hip hop is credited with, right? Is forgotten sometimes in the story of hip hop, though they tell the foundation is that it saw a lot of the born in New York during that period of time. That the energy that was being spent on gangs killing one another. A group in Philadelphia that came around during the 90s to be a part of what was called the neo soul movement. Wow, really incredible artist came from the neo soul movement. One who we lost recently was D'Angelo. Um, just think about that. D'Angelo and Angie Stone both passed away.
Right.
Wow. Wow. That's how long both of their parents this year, man. Amazing. Wow. But they were fun of this great era called Neil Stone. If you get a chance, please look up Angie Stone and D'Angelo. Listen to the incredible music. But the Roots were also a part of that great transition into the combination of hip hop and soul music, man, of that period of time. And they are, who we was talking about in our quick hit, they're made up of a group of drummers with named, no, one of my dudes, man, they have False Black Thought is one of the best, man, in terms of being an MC. You got my guy Captain Chris on the guitar. You got my guy Mark Kelly on the bass and Cody on the keyboard. Ian Hendrickson on the saxophone, and Hugo Gooding Jr. in the and he on the keyboard and the drum. Dave Down on the trumpet, Kamal Gray on keyboards, and Damon Angry also on keyboards. This group now plays for Jimmy Fallon show. So if you ever get an opportunity to listen to them live, at this moment, they play Jimmy Fallon show every single night. I think at 11:30.
That's right. That's it.
NBC. The roots are hip hop loyalty and foundation when it comes to the neo soul style and the culture.
That's right, no doubt about it. And when you get ready, I want to try to play You Got Me when you get a chance. When see if you can. Well, listen, you're gonna do how you always do. We're gonna play a little bit of all of these joints now. So when you ready to go, let them fly. Okay. Okay. That's so close. So, I mean, oh my, what to say, huh? What to say? Listen to the story, the rhythm, the tone, the melody. Oh my, and it's a great message that he's bringing. That's it. One of the best that ever did it, Black Thought. I mean, listen, the crazy part about it is the legacy, right? Hip hop is about the repetitiveness of a beat, right? The taking of the 2 to 4 uh, uh, bars of whatever music and repeating that over and over and over again and rhyming over that particular section or dancing over that particular section, right? The Roots being a band, an actual band, right? And playing as Black Thought does what he does lyrically is just, again, the one of those epitome things. And something I know that you love about music, like the instrumentation of it, the improvisation of it, probably how many times they probably have to jump off and improv with one another. And now you got the voice mixing with the instruments and everyone is together. And, just the amazingness of being able to do something like that, again, speaks to the quality of the youth and what they've been able to do. Yeah, no doubt about it, man. And recently the Roots, did you know that the Roots actually played with an orchestra? Nas did the same thing. Nas did some of his sounds with an orchestra, with a full orchestra. We're talking about violins, cellos, the whole orchestra. The Roots did the same thing recently. I forgot the name of it, but they did that, and that just shows you again how musical styles are really coming together. And they're saying that, like even in the classical field is playing hip hop. That's what it is. Yeah, and they're bringing in shows. They're bringing in, people who are supposed to be conservative that are listening to it. Why? Because it's classical music that's actually, it's like they're listening to a whole new composition. And I want to jump in on you because Pop, you know how we do, man. You had us exposed, and again, people, let me just say this, man. Let me just say this. This is a conversation that we have all the time. This is not something new. This conversation we're having right now is not new about any of this. We've done this a million times. We're bringing you in on this. So please jump in whenever you want to, because we gonna go, man. We gonna go. We can go. You know what I'm saying? We can go, man. You know what I mean? Sister Martha, have you heard that song that we just played? Have you heard that song for Sister Martha? This song right here. Have you heard this before, Sister Martha?
I don't think so. I don't think so. Let me hear it.
Okay, let me start it from here.
Now, who is it?
It's the Roots. It's the Roots with Erykah Badu.
Oh, I love Erykah Badu. Maybe I just didn't know the lyrics. I love her songs.
Sister Jamila, have you heard this before? I know you've heard it. I know you heard it, Sister Jamila. Jamila, I know you heard it. What about you, Sister Amira? I know you on. Have you heard it before? Well, even if you haven't, that is the whole intention of the show. The whole
I do. I heard it before.
Yeah.
That's old. I'm from about 20 years old. That's probably for you, Mary.
Yeah, but the thing is that it's a classic.
It is.
That's why we playing it. Because these are the basics. We want to do the new stuff. We want to do the new stuff. We want to, the foundation stuff before we even get into the new stuff.
We had so much fun. We had so much fun, and remember this year too. We building that bridge. We want the younger generation to know about the artists who mattered just from the '90s, because they think of the '90s like that's cool. Right? You was born. When was you born? You was born in the 1970s.
Yeah. Yeah.
They don't even think about it. That was just yesterday. So when they talk about the 1990s, and so when this stuff, the Roots and Erykah Badu and D'Angelo and Angie Stone and Jill Scott and Music Stone Child and Tony, all of these great artists that were coming out from during that Jaheim.
Yes.
You can keep going.
Yeah,
And these guys were so amazing, and people forget that. Like, that was good. Listen to that stuff now. And listen to, like I just said, listen to the tonality. Listen to the music. Listen to the message. Listen to, this is great thinking music to sit back and just, think about what's going on. Or even on a day like today where the snow is coming down, here in New York, or, the stars are shining wherever you are, sitting back and listening to something cool like that. It puts you in a great frame of mind. These things need to be shared. We need to share how great hip hop has been as well. Not only these narratives about how negative everything is, because that's someone else's narrative. We need to control our own. And this is why we have this class.
That's right. There you go. That's what it is. That's what it is, and that's where we at with it. I want you to know that what I'm going to do today. I'm going to see. I'm going to see Wicked 2 again. I'm going to see Wicked 2. And Mel, if you want to hang out, man, man, I can meet you in the city and we can make that happen. But okay. I'm going to see Wicked 2 again because look, Wicked 1 was good, but Wicked 2, oh man. Wicked 2 is definitely a classic. And they get ready to come out with one of my favorite movies that I had to go see 2, 3, 4, 5 times, The Devil Wears Prada. They coming up with The Devil Wears Prada 2. The Devil Wears Prada 2. I can't wait to see my girl Vera Street do her thing, man.
Well, man, listen, listen, again, art is everywhere, and I bet you it has a hip hop vibe. There's a hip hop vibe in Devil Wears Prada 2. There's gonna be a hip hop vibe Again, we know things cool. And this is what the hip hop culture is everywhere. It's gonna affect everything that comes out, every piece of and especially in the creative space, like the creative entertainment industry, it affects them. It affects how things are narrated. And we want to continue to have a control over our own narrative. Let's get into a few more of these joints, man. Like, let's see if we can play what they do. By the way. Generosity, inspiration, population come to the frustration. Also, to them, you learn about the money and gas, limitation, exactly, reputation, and discrimination. You want to be a man who stands strong, you want to be some shot. Keep Black Lord, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, did you get the message? Did you get the message? Did you get the believe that? Sister Martha?
It was good exercising music.
When we talking about, you find some part of the day that for me, that's what music should be. Like, music shouldn't always intervene and intercede. Music should always, sometimes just be about blending in whatever it is you're doing. And that's what I loved about just both of the tracks you got me, the Erica Badu, and also this one, what they do. It blends into the vibe. They didn't take over with some, hip hop music into the do. Yeah. Yeah. So what we got next for, Pop? What we got next for? Yeah, well, what we got next one, this one is called The Clones. Let's see. First of all, let's talk about They don't go platinum, they go aluminum. They don't go platinum, they go aluminum. Seriously, man. Play on circuit. This what I mean, like, number one, the beat is so enjoyable, right? The beat was so bouncy and enjoyable, you could just get into it. The other thing is the way he bounced across it with the lyrics, right? And the metaphors, just beautiful. Again, we love hip hop. So being an MC, I love wordplay. I love hearing the way in which, some words have been manipulated, by the MC. I think that's one of the best things, right? I was verse 7/11/11/14. The Reverend gave blessings to the newborn king. The dope money sent me to school, propels in my back. Man, I ate off crack, and I ain't sell one pack. Didn't deal nothing. Said steal something, have you trapped. You have your wordplay. You master it. This is the mastery of your flow. Or you say, I train like the athlete. Realize this ain't a race and this ain't a track meet. This ain't no game. And I ain't a chess piece. I'm a sentient. More than the flesh and bone they sent me and attempt to use these words of my soul's empty end, but it's impossible. Like trying to fill a car with rocket fuel. It's supposed to be sick and the mind of fuel and two phenomenal fuel. It's comical view on the bank. You start mastering the flow, and Black Thought is one of those MCs where that's what his reputation is. That he's a master of metaphor, the master of flows. And that comes through the roots. Again, that has to be counted in being the MC for a veteran. Right? That's not, I mean, can we even think of another successful group in hip hop that has that formula? Right? Think about it, you know?
Well, what was the Black Thought and talent quality that they had? They had a talent quality and most staff had you know, they were pretty good together also, as far as, you know, spitting the lyrics. Eminem, I mean, listen, listen, Eminem can kill it too. I mean, it's not, you know, now you can see a whole lot of artists, but Eminem should definitely I mean, he can definitely bring the lyrics. Eminem,
there's a bringing that up is great because there is a classic BET cipher with Most Def,
right?
Most Def, Khaled Kelly, Most Def, Black Thought, and Eminem. And I think there's like two more people in the cycle with them who are incredible. But I mean, it's a cycle of that level of MC, right? All in one place at one time. It's a BET cycle every year. Here you go. Cycle, and they were put together these MCs to spin on track. And they had Eminem, Black Thought, and Most Def.
Yeah, I have to know. Okay, you want me to play a little bit of it?
Do it, man.
Okay, here we go, Black Thought. Eminem, this is Eminem.
That's a history. Yeah, listen, I mean, right there, I could just sit and listen to MCs like that. The thing about that, right, is that you gotta be an MC to love that, right? You gotta love MCs to be able to listen to that, right? Because people want to have the chorus, hey, 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 and be able to dance and repeat and do all of that, right? That's the stuff that goes, that's the stuff that becomes popular, that's the stuff they wind up with on TikTok. But when you talk about MCs, and that's what we talk about, and that's a good transition in the quick quotes, which is our next piece, man. But we already showed you that, you know, the Goose, one of the most classic bands, classic bands, hip hop bands, hip hop performers, hip hop groups, in hip hop history. You know, it's truly amazing. As a matter of fact, they also were just inducted into into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, just recently.
Before you go on to the next, let me just say this to you. You know, just like we listen to hip hop because of the message that's in it. We get the message that's in it. We make the message that's in it. People that are hip hop artists, it's all about wanting to say something that's inside, and they bring it out. That's what it does. Some people do it better than others. In Islam, remember, Islam has the basic idea, which is the same. This is why people learn Arabic and learn how to say it in Arabic. This is why they learn the message. They learn the message and then they repeat it to themselves or they repeat it to others. Especially when it comes to the Arabic language. The Arabic language is a lyrical, and the message is lyrical, but the rhythm of the Arabic language is one where people they learn the whole Quran. They learn the whole Quran and they become Hafizes and they go ahead and they kick it, as far as rhyming is concerned. That's what they do. So, this is just basically, they have their relative, they're parallel to each other, and one of the ways that we should understand it.
Let me tell you some parallel, man. Parallel from a father's family feet 18 with one great purchase and one great aim. Quicker than lightning, it made no sound for the Milky Way galaxy. It was down past planets, meters, shooting stars, the rings of Saturn, Jupiter and Mars. Who knew its value, what was its worth? And again, there's something close to the earth. Now in a pretty windy city about that time, son of man rose his mind and he rose up. Yeah, into the cosmic atmosphere. Listen, let me just say, that's my father's rhyme. I remember when we talk about relative, one of the 8 years old, remembering that rhyme, going to, 8 years old, so that's 1980. So in 1980, I walk into school, and this is when hip hop is, to me, is really becoming something all around my friends. And when I said that rhyme, my friends were like, along the way, I'm acting like that's mom, but that's the whole, like you said. It's something that, and look, I'm 53 years old today, right? That was 45 years ago. That time is imprinted in my mind. There you go. So it helps to create my flow. It helps to influence someone that, again, this is before there was any real influence in terms of someone coming in and saying, hey, that's my favorite. My favorite MC was my father. My favorite MC is still my father, right? So at the end of the day, you get your favorites. I want to go back off though, and I want to read something for you.
Before you do it, I want you to, that's why you learn the prayers. That's why you learn the ayats. That's why you learn the verses. That's why you learn Surah Al-Nas. That's why you learn
El Fatiha, so that you can remember it and say it because it means something to you. Go ahead, good man. I mean, listen, we're gonna right off of that, going to Black Thought. This is from the song that they released, I believe it was 1999, that this song came out. This is called Act Two, right? And just listen to the lyrics, right? The intricacy of this rhyme. Listen, and I'm not gonna read the whole thing, but just listen to this, man. This is the first verse in this. The anticipation arose as time closed. I stared off the stage with my eyes closed and dove into the deep cosmos. The impact pushed back the first five rolls. But before the roll live shows, I remember it's a little snot nose, rocking Cavell goggles and eyes are closed. Learning the ropes of ghetto survival, keeping up the situation I have to slide through. I had to watch my back, my front, plus my side too. When it came to getting mine, I ain't trying to argue. Sometimes I wouldn't have it made. I wouldn't have made it if it wasn't for you. Hip hop, you're the love of my life, and that's true. Come on, man. Yeah, words. Just talking about how that's the truth of hip hop. Like that's what some of us was a thing savior. Like it saved us from going down certain roads, and that was because it was there for us. And again, I go back to 1980 and being able to spit that rhyme. My son was going to Amazing Dad was just another step. Like, they're going to going and performing with the Propagators at 5 and 6 and 7 years old. And I just had enough later, which was like, wait a minute, I could do this myself too. Wow. Then I began my process of repeating my own message. And to where I wasn't just repeating what someone else did, but it wasn't just birds and whatever brought together. And that's being a part of that. Or saying, through all this galaxy, it became my own voice where it was weird body and angel come down the feed and every word that I'm saying can take heed and so fingers it's not right. Or you might God is very nice. Let me give you a rundown of how to be. You go to Oxford University, you get your bachelor's certificate, your PhD to be a lawyer, a scientist, or the number one student on the business since 12 years old when I went there. 12 years old. Right? So that's 42, that's 41 years ago. My first rhyme on paper. And look at how much sense it made. It made a story that was being told at 12 years, being capable of doing that. Sister Martha, we gotta get Sister Martha in here, maybe she got something that she wanted to add to it, especially for Sister Martha's into the Arabic to that degree. Sister Martha, what can you tell us about the Arabic, and how it kind of relates to hip hop to that degree as far as the lyrics are concerned, that encourages you as you do your study and research regarding the Arabic, saying the Arabic and the message that it brings.
Yes, and greetings of peace to everyone. What I'm discovering is the how life, all the words. It truly is that Almighty God blessed words to bring life to our minds. Otherwise, can you imagine our minds without any sound, without any words, without any expression? We would just be walking zombies with these bottled up feelings. But if it had not been incorporated by God's will, incorporated that we will make sounds and we will have reasoning with those sounds, with purpose behind those sounds, we can't go outside of the realm, but we don't need to. We're within it. We are words in motion. We are breathing words. So, alhamdulillah, that's what it means to me.
There you go. There you go. It doesn't change, and see, we're talking about that in this language of English. We're talking about how that happens, but know that there are many cultures around the world, that have the same experience that we're having because it's a human experience and it's for human beings too. And so I put words together. It's a human experience. Come on. Oh man, listen, you know how I feel about it. I'm always thinking about how the words go together, how I'm able to express myself and articulate myself, whether that's in conversation with my boss or talking on the phone to a customer service rep, just trying to continue to work on clarity, even here on the show, working on my vocabulary, working on my stuttering, working on my saying and or thing. There is this constant working on how you articulate yourself. And when you have MCs at a certain level, right, the M&Ms, the Black Thoughts, who are able to cohesively put together words that mean something, and get across the message, that stuff is invaluable, especially when we talk about the artistry of MCing when we come back to the five components, right? A DJ who is or have with that feeling so comfortable, again, they blend into the event. They don't really take over the event, they blend in. The same with an MC. When an MC is able to blend in with the song, blend in with the lifestyle of someone happening, especially lyrically, to connect, therein lies a great sport. And of course, we've always been able to come back to what is truly a part of the calm, which is, was eloquently said by we know that words matter. And so in the end, just being able to celebrate MCs here on Quick Quotes is something that we really want to spotlight and continue to do. You can also see that Quick Quotes once again, my platform, right, which is youtube.com backslash Mr. Kivel, Msterkivel, where you can go to the playlist and you can check out Quick Quotes. There are a ton of quick quotes that are already there that you can listen to, compare and see if you like it, see if you don't. But again, you can check us out on your social media platform. And I do drop it on Instagram too. I just take things off of Instagram earlier, though. Keep it there, but you'll always be able to see it. We're going to move on and go into what is called U Dance. U Dance, again, as we discussed earlier, is our competitive piece of the show that deals with b-boying, right? And b-boying, again, is the main hip hop piece. The hip hop dance as a total is what we talk about here. And of course, other forms of dancing, because it all fits in the hip hop to make hip hop so great as it encompasses so many different pieces of a particular genre. And in this conversation, we're going to talk about one of my favorites. And one of my favorites, too, one of Dance World's favorites. We're going to talk about lead twins and how the twins have really come into the world of dance and put a mark on it, similar to some of the greats that we've had in world.
Yeah, that's twins. What is there not to say? They were one of the first that was on. Uh, what makes them unique is that they're two brothers. They are twins, and they were able to come together and do U dance or hip hop dance together. That was very unique, and that's what made them stand out. Because they weren't individual and they didn't dance as a group. They danced as two brothers. And it was expressive and it was creative. What it was that they did, especially in doing it. Sometimes they would do it as a single, and then the other one would support their single dance. But it was really a turn as far as hip hop dance was concerned, what it was that they did.
Yeah, these guys, just to speak a little bit to it, thank you, the wife is bringing me a little piece of the place. We've been on already almost till 1 o'clock, man, and wait a minute. We getting ready to move along. We don't play no games over here, man. We talk like we have a good time right here. We're going to, I know we're going to hold it down. So we'll move along a little quicker.
Let's just say in that down because we should hold it down. Wow, that really for me. So when you're ready, let me know and I'll call you Don, Bill. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So we'll just end on this note in terms of you dance. We have more coming, but you can always go and check out again the platforms. What we'll have is we'll have some classes up in today's show. It's just going to break everything down into a summary of the 3 hours that we do here on the Pictures Daily Experience right here on the New Jersey Community Radio and Fortune Insight. That's right. We're going to continue to promote it until you'll see what things we had all scheduled out and planned. You can go check it once again on Instagram on that flag. Listen to Bell. You can go and check it out there. Again, just for that information. But in this way, you can see what it is that we miss as we've been having a great conversation, because it's already 12:52, and we're getting ready to move into our closing show, which is the conversation, the experience, and the movement. We're going to have a conversation about something that's been going on in the country over the last year. Really has been tragic to see the rise in gun mass shootings, right? Mass shootings across the country and in other places. Yeah, but we'll talk a little bit more about that in the conversation, the experience, and the movement. And we'll talk about it from a unique perspective, see if you agree with what it is that we bring to the table and join the conversation. So, coming at 1 o'clock, we're going to close off about continuing the conversation about late twins because uh, there's some stuff just to know that there's some clients. And in 2008, they were finalists in this competition called the Creative Talent, right? They quickly rose to prominence, and they went to a dance competition in San Diego, which was the 2010 World of Dance Tour, which that YouTube clip wound up going viral, and they got over 26 million views. Uh, it has today up to 46 million, maybe more. In 2011, they won the hip hop new style division of the prestigious international street dance competition, the Dubois. In 2017, they won the American Reality Competition Series, World of Dance, which was executive produced by Jennifer Lopez. And the series featured solo and larger groups competing for a grand prize of $1 million. They then now went on to dance for various music artists across the globe. Jason Derulo, Big Sean, Beyonce, Megan Trainor, and Missy Elliott. So these guys, man, have really turned, a viral clip that happened back in the 2000s, 2010s, into a thriving and budding dance career that has been, really influencing the culture of dance across the globe. Yes, no doubt about it, man. And they have inspired others with these hip hop battles that they actually get into. But when people see the way they move and to see what they want, other people wind up trying to copy or even do what they're doing better than what they're doing. And so it's a complementary competition that's done, and you can see that others are utilizing their body in creative ways, man. So many creative ways that hip hop dancing has influenced people to use their body in such a way that now hip hop dancing has become an Olympic sport. Or Sister Martha, here to speak a little bit to that.
Oh yeah, because of yeah. See, exercising. When I saw them doing sweeping the broom, sweeping the ice, making it and making the little shuttle thing, I thought, how weird is that? And it's in the Olympics, so I'm part of the winter sports thing. So yeah, I can see dancing competition being there, but you have to get into again. We talk about the monies. You bring a platform that shows that people will watch it and they will be engaged in it, and whatever financial ends come out of it, we know that tells the story.
And also to add on to what you're saying, Sister Martha, particularly in the space when you're talking about the international sport of the Olympics, right? The international games. If you want the best break dancers in that competition, you're gonna
without a shadow of a doubt, put some real sponsorship money behind them. Don't play these games with them and treat them like, oh, this is just some neat little sport. No, you know what hip hop is.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's why you put it into the games. You understand that the abilities that these great dancers have are so. I mean, and look, there's a guy I follow named B-Boy Gravity on Instagram. B-Boy Gravity on Instagram. This guy is so amazing. He's a gymnast who got into the world of breakdancing and encompasses and incorporates his breakdancing is goodness into the breakdancing. When I tell you it is such a wonderful thing to see we get the grace and the subtleness when we bring in the different dance moves that this guy does. I can imagine him in the Olympics, but he wasn't in the Olympics. Right, right, and that's because they're gonna play around, right, and not go get some real players. But that's just like what happened with the Dream Team. At some point, you're gonna have to recognize the Russians are not gonna send play Russian break dancers. They're gonna send the Russian break dancers that they to make a point, to make a point. What better actually than in this thing you created? You're going to have to send the best to defeat the best because the Koreans are good, the Japanese are good, the Filipinos are good. When they start sending their people across to say we're the best and wearing gold medals, saying they're the best in international competition, America better recognize you better go and get the greatest at what they do here when it comes to this sport. And again, the twins represent something that is magical too. They not only have a piece of that in their repertoire, but the mixing with the other genres there really separates them, in particularly in these great dance battles, which are happening all over the world. All over the world, right underneath people's noses. People don't even recognize how big these dance competitions are and how many people are engaged in the dance world.
Well,
That's why it's important us to recognize. Yeah, go ahead, Sister Margaret.
I was going to inject. I don't know at what point in time that because I was watching Olympics forever and a day. And at what point in time that skating that they incorporated, I don't know whether they got the flavor from wanting a piece of hip hop and the musical industry, but they merged it into because it used to just be skating by points, but it wasn't incorporating a dance feature with it.
Mhm. The skating, again, remember when the black skaters began getting into ice skating and going on to the world stage and using hip hop majors music in order to showcase their talent, right? That also started to happen in the other groups representations, right? So the other girls from Iowa and from Indiana, who were coming up from Kentucky, and they were doing their dance routines for hip hop flavor. That's when all of a sudden it became clear we have to have a partnership with the dog.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous. It's 1 p.m. It's 1 p.m. We're gonna end on this, but I'm gonna end it on this, and then we're gonna get back and get into the conversation. Snoop Dogg has been enlisted by NBC to be an official host of the Olympics in 2028. Okay. But that is a story. Why do you mention that? Because again, hip hop is that big. Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg is enlisted by the international, the committee on the Olympics, committee of international, whatever. As an official rep, they loved it. When he did the 2024 Olympics, they loved the flavor he brought, the hip hop style. Yes. Yes. They loved it. And so they want it again. They can't wait. Right? Just an incredible thing. Anyway, let's have the insurance. Great conversation. Quick, let's talk real quick every Sunday right here on a Newton Community Radio, on Coaching Insights with American Muslim 360, Sister Mark and Papa Top, myself, Mr. Kivel, hosting quick a digital experience. Right? Yeah, we doing it up. We having a good time. We getting ready to move into this last conversation, and it is going to be a challenging one. Yeah, one moment before we do what we want to do, give our responsibility and do this. Oh, yes. Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. 5 times a day we make the world stop and bring to the bottom what's on top. Well, we're going into the next piece, and it is the conversation. Mr. Cavell, as you should proceed. Well, yeah, there you go. So, on the heels of some of the things that have been happening around this country, we might have a conversation. Over the past few weeks, the country's once again been shaken by reports of mass shootings. In small workplaces and public gathering spaces, these tragedies dominate headlines and reignite debates about safety, policy, and prevention. But there's a quieter, often overlooked reality that mass shootings are statistically rare in predominantly Black neighborhoods, despite those communities being routinely labeled as or unsafe. That contradiction deserves some honest examination. So I just wanted to put that out there. There have been 2 mass shootings in the last 24 hours. One at Brown University in Rhode Island, where 2 people were killed and 9 people critically injured. And then there was a shooting at a Hanukkah celebration in Australia, where I believe 11 people were killed and 29 people are now hospitalized at last recount. But again, these shootings are occurring in these places that don't usually see this level of violence, and you've got to ask yourself why and who. And also, what is the differentiation where we talk about the violence that exists in our neighborhoods and is often villainized, but we have less of these kinds of events that occur in our neighborhoods. But I also want to read something because I said, because we're having this conversation, let me go to Google and see if there are conversations about this on Google. And what came up on Google when I put in what can we learn, what we can learn from things about shootings in Black neighborhoods. Here is what it pulls up. It says, there is a misconception that mass shootings are absent in Black neighborhoods. Rather, they are significant source of trauma and occur frequently, though they are often classified and covered differently by media and other sources. What can be learned is how systematic inequality and structural racism create the conditions of different types of gun violence to manifest and how community-based solutions can be effective. So it was interesting how it immediately said, wait a minute, no, there are mass shootings in Black communities. We shouldn't think about it that way because that happens all the time over there. But let's talk about systematic inequality. This is what Google did. Like it almost felt like it was I was just talking to someone on the other side of the aisle on like a talk show, and they just said, yeah, that does happen. But no, it does happen like that. But listen, we need to get back to the point which is happening in our communities. How do we talk about that kind of thing without then this back and forth with individuals? Because I again just want to hear if that's something that we paying attention to as we see these kinds of things. And then,
Well, this is what I will say to you, Kivel, that it goes so high as far as misrepresentation is concerned that it is even going as far as the leaders in federal government is concerned. I'd like you to hear this. One ministry organization in Cuba. That's what we're in right now. And that's what put that in trouble. They are the because they look at the data right now, look at the domestic terrorist threats that we're facing. Right now, I see from my position is that's the most immediate violence threat that we're facing on the domestic side. So why is that the team for him? What we're doing right now is going to where in the United States, the team for exists. Because the terrorist organization, and you identify as number one. We don't have that infrastructure right now. So what does that mean? We try to get the information to Antifa. It's a terrorist organization. Tell us to come to the community. How did you come to that? Where do they exist? How many members do they have in the United States as of right now? It's very limited. It's all open to first understand it. It's the same now Canada. So now I want to actually one person, so I just want you to tell us. Can you say Antifa is the number one domestic terrorist organization operating in the United States? We just need to know where they are, how many people. I don't want a name, I don't want anything like that. Just how many people have you identified with the FBI? And Antifa is made of. Investigation. Yes. So you wouldn't come to this community and say something. You can't prove it enough. I know you wouldn't do that. And then, see, Antifa is short for Black people we voting and demonstrating. That's what that's short for. And that's why the whole thing happened with, he said, look, we're going to back up. Black folk, we're going to back up with what's going on and let y'all go ahead and handle this.
Well again, to continue down this conversation because again, we're not, and I don't want anyone to think we are belittling or demeaning the loss of life while any of these circumstances. These mass shootings are terrible. They are affecting all communities, especially gun violence. Gun violence is really what is affecting a lot of communities today. And we are all concerned with this and want there to be a solution. These mass shootings, however, they have a different story, have a completely different. And it's not that we're doing anything, but it's about the question, why are large-scale indiscriminate violence not that they're designed to terrorize crowds? Why aren't they showing up in our communities, right? Why is no one showing up at 125th Street to shoot up the Apollo? Why wouldn't someone do that? Why wouldn't somebody come to the church over here on 138th Street and commit a terrorist? you have to ask yourself, what is the terrorist designed to do? Who is it targeting? And in that regard, you're looking at what kind of structure, what kind of environment you have around you. They're attacking environments where, again, they seem to have some enemy there, some issue with folks who are there. And we have to ask ourselves once again, where does that really, let's say, we call it that particular thing, because it has become more frequent over the last year.
Well, it has become frequent over the last year because the mainstream media has been pushing it to us over the last year. The only reason why we know what's going on in Minneapolis or Brown University or some of the other places is because the media here in New York let us know, or in Florida let us know, or in other parts of or down there in Louisiana let us know. Brown University is not in New York, Louisiana, or Florida. So mainstream media puts it out there and then pushes it. And then all of a sudden, they push the one that not only do they push the one that at Brown University, they push the one that was down here in Australia. That's been happening recently. They push the one that's in Australia. So mainstream media pushes it, and then it gives us, it's supposed to give us the idea that, all of this is happening in our communities, and it's not.
Well, there's something, again, that you said, man, that is truly important, and that is that the noise, the information has to be consumed in order to actually know, right, where these things, or if these things are occurring. This morning when I woke up, my wife, did she hear about these? And she hadn't, because that's not what she normally goes to watch. She goes to watch, her own set of things. And so because I tend to look at the things that are happening around the globe, it's just in my circle of things. Right. But again, which got me to thinking about it, right? Really thinking about, growing up in my neighborhood, there has always been violence. Yes, there has always been violence. But I can't remember, right? I'm trying to think, and I oftentimes do, try to think of times that they were mass shootings, where they were, 30 people shot, 15 people killed, in one place at one time. And I can't really process it. And I've been in the neighborhood, so the majority of I just can't think of a time that someone walked into a school in Harlem and did something like that, or a church in Harlem. And I'm trying to think of any race of people doing that. I cannot think of one time. I can think of when it happened downtown. Right? I'm in the neighborhood. Can't think of any. And so then maybe some of you on the show today, maybe you guys can speak to maybe did you see that somewhere around your community? Maybe in other places it's different, but I just can't think of a time here in New York that we've ever had a mass shooting that dealt with Black folk in a large scale.
Well, I'll tell you, I'll say this, Sister Martha, that the one that I think about is 9/11 was the big one. That's the big one. And once 9/11 happened, man, in the New York City situation, everybody got on top of their game. Everybody got on top of their game. It's like and started looking at people. I mean, that's the only one that I remember to any degree that I think 9/11 put a lot of New Yorkers on point. That you got to look around because there's people out there that may try to hurt you.
Yeah, I do think that part of that was, I do think New York is a unique circumstance. I remember feeling that way even as a child, feeling as though I need to make sure that I'm protected. I need to pay attention to surveillance. There's always been, my mind has always been in being resilient in that way, paying attention to the environment. That was a lesson taught from day one. So I think New Yorkers have a unique set of skills because there is such a diverse population when you go into different neighborhoods You don't know who you might face, whether that's from your own set of people in your culture or whether that's from another group. Yo, another culture. I went to the restaurant yesterday, and as soon as I walked in the restaurant, I had on my my coat and everything, man. But as soon as I walked in, people started looking at me like it's strange. They looked at me strange. Well, like there's an automatic stigma with black people, to a great degree. If I don't come in here with a suit and tie, and I just come in, just in regular clothes, it's like, is this guy homeless? What is this? Is this guy coming to get something off me? Is he a bum on the street? Is he coming in to rob me? And one thing that I've learned how to live with that because I understand that's not my problem. That's your problem. As far as the black observation, that ain't my problem. Don't make it my observation to prove to you that I'm okay. That's not my responsibility. That's your problem. You have to get that in your head. You got to get that. So, when I'm walking there, and then all of a sudden, after a couple of minutes, they kind of calm down. They calm down because they say, oh, I'm there, trying to do the same thing that they're doing in there, and they're not looking at me like that. Yeah.
Excellent.
There is also, again, I thought this is small together.
When you were mentioning it, I thought about 1996 here in St. Petersburg, which went all the way over to Russian news and everything, uh, because of the riotous behavior that happened after the shooting of a young man because his car jolted forward when he put it into park. And the fearful officer in front of the car, she's standing there, she shot through the windshield and killed him. And it turned out big time here. Uh, but what that we discovered also was a bad behavior that was being covered with officers doing their thing. So that's what got our focus, was how many people were being actually being killed by policemen, which they were being sheltered through as policemen in the police department, but they had ulterior motives. So until the police department began to do an assessment and find out that there were just some evil intended persons that were clothed in uniform, they had to clean house. And so whether it's being reported, but to a degree, it appears as though that's gone down. But what else is happening? Trafficking of people, human trafficking came more to the forefront, and then the pornographic situation with young people.
There is also in this, to back up what you're saying, Sister Martha, what we, and even in this Google search that I did again, which clearly wants to make sure that there is no differentiation between the committing of these mass shootings by a particular group of people and the black narrative of being a violent and dangerous environment, that these two things are the same, that they are not exclusively different. They're just covered differently according to even what Pop said earlier about the media. They put a certain narrative. This is literally saying we admit that we don't cover the violence that occurs in your neighborhoods the same way that we cover the violence that occurs in other neighborhoods from another set of people. It only goes to show once again the disparity in how it is that we are, that our narrative is being sold. And so again, someone reading this would get a completely different understanding than you are being from communities of color. Right? So it's resilience and community-based solutions. The focus on violence in Black communities highlights the effectiveness of community-based violence intervention programs, which are often civilian-led public health initiatives and address the root causes of conflict and trauma. These programs are critical for reducing gun violence and are community-driven public safety. What does that say? Right? In my mind, what that says is because there is a high focus on gun violence and violence as a whole in our community, it's not an institutional effect. It's not an institutional strategy that works to keep that the population dealing with and handling their violence. It's a community-based neighborhood initiative that creates the environment for conversation to be to effectively prevent violence from occurring. And again, when you look at the other communities where these shootings happen, there is a tendency to believe that they have no issues with violence. And violence is not a knocking at the door at any moment. There is to pretend as though this thing doesn't exist. Instead of preparing and preventing it, there is this facade that there's nothing to see here, nothing to see here. Again, what do you think about that?
Well, I mean, it's 100% true what you're saying. But then again, it winds up being that the buzzwords that are actually put in the environment. And like I said, when I played that clip where Bernie Thompson was interviewing the FBI director of operations on terrorist operations. And he said the number one terrorist, the terrorist is a buzzword. Terrorist is a word, and that's the thing that they do as far as Islam is concerned. Islam, and you see what the guy did when he was talking about Antifa. What he tried to do is he tried to throw Al Qaeda, and he said, he said, right. Because what they wanted to do, the terrorist is a buzzword. Every time that there is a shooting, they wonder if it's a terrorist, and they wonder. So the guy that killed the healthcare president, the president of healthcare, the Luigi Mangione, oh, it must have been a terrorist that did it. Next thing you know, they found out that it was somebody else. And then, sometimes it's hard to believe, it was hard for me to believe that Afghan guy came and killed the two officers in New York recently.
Well, therein lies another thing, man, that is out there. We have to, why did he do it? For what? For what? Again, you ask yourself this question. Why would you? So it's not important to kill people of color. Like you got these racists out here, right? These racists who hate black people and they want to destroy, they hate a nigga. But they don't come into the neighborhood and blast up a church. They don't walk into a Target in Brooklyn and let them off of the 15. They just don't do it. Why are they doing it? They don't. Do they not hate us from all the narratives? Do they not hate us that much? That we're thriving, that we're becoming more educated, that we're becoming more business minded, that we're becoming more financially literate, that we're going to, in the next 20 years, the white population in the United States, they will be first time the minority. They not running up in spots that have to do with black people. They all running up in spots that have to do with Jews. And again, not being unsympathetic to what's happening, but just in the question to see, what we did.
Yeah, well, I would say to you that we live in a culture today where there's so many lies that it's easy to lie. I think that and this might be a conspiracy theory, but when they told me that the two officers were shot, I was like, oh God, who did this? And then they go ahead and get somebody from Afghanistan that did it. Yeah, what can he say? He's not going to be able to say anything. I just can't see that. Well, this guy, what did he do? He bugged out. He just bugged out for no reason at all. He just came up and shot two people. Yeah, I mean, it just didn't make any sense to me. But whatever narrative, the point that I'm making, whatever narrative you want to put out there, that's the narrative that the people have to accept. You know, they just have to accept it. You know, that's the narrative, because that's the narrative of the government, the way the government is operating today. You know, they're just creating narratives and then fulfilling them, and it could be bunch of, you know, a bunch of lies.
Well,
Oh,
excuse me.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead, Sister Martha.
I was going to say, my son has been studying for the past few years something that's affecting his mind, not his mind concept, his mindset, because he's able to handle it. But there has been through the armed forces, there have been studies where there's been manipulative electronic manipulation devices used where they really like they do the fiber optic process with communication. There was a test, and one general did leave evidence in a letter form to his wife, but he gave it to his co-general that should anything happen to him, then he can expose it. And it was exposed that he voluntarily chose to be used to see, can that manipulation happen? And it can happen. And they were saying through computers or what have you. So it's what well you've heard of mind control. So those who and so when you say why would someone go and do that? It's like the officer in Hollywood, Florida. He walked up and started shooting this young man, and he was in a daze. And he was like, they were like, "Why did you do it?" He said, "I don't know." So I just leave it right there.
You, you said something. You're saying something that speaks to this, and you read this also from Google. The data demonstrates that effective solutions must go beyond typical gun control measures, right? To address the underlying social and economic inequalities that create the conditions for violence to thrive are important. This includes investing in neglected neighborhoods and providing support for crime survivors to break the cycle of trauma and violence. And in our neighborhoods, there is a focus, right? We have these social services that are available. We have these preventative um, agencies that are available. Uh, there are, folks around who are going through that, who have friends, and again, the numbers, when we talk about our neighborhood, especially in the urban setting, the numbers of people, you can have thousands of people in one area who've known each other, over 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 100 years. And so there was still, even though there is violence, there are a lot of connections as family. And so there are ways in which people are able to deal with the trauma that goes on and has gone on in our communities, and band together. And so in Black neighborhoods, safety doesn't always come from institutions, it comes from the people, from the elders on the streets, to the barbershop, to everybody who knows the business in the neighborhood, right? Who intervene before situations escalate. There's an unspoken system of checks and balances. People are seen, people are known in isolation, but keep back there in many mass violence cases. It's harder to hide. It's harder to hide in our neighborhood, even though they may be perceived to be bigger and more vulnerable. A lot of the times they're less vulnerable because people are more vigilant about the fact that we know something can occur here.
Yes, well, listen, this is why it becomes important to pray. Okay, don't think that prayer doesn't work. Pray for protection from the creator of the heavens and the earth. Not only you and your family don't get caught in that kind of situation. And may Allah bless you. May Allah bless us as far as the prayers are concerned, for Allah's protection. That's why we say the prayer. Show me the straight way, the way of those on whom you have bestowed your grace, not the way of those who you're ravished right now, nor the way of those who go astray. I seek refuge in the Lord mankind, King of mankind, the God of mankind, from the whisperer who whispers into the heart of mankind, among the jinn and men of mankind. I seek refuge. I seek refuge in the Lord of the dawn, from the mischief of created things,
from darkness as it overspreads, from those who practice the secret arts, and from the envier when he envies. And those are all prayers of protection, from the creator of the heavens and the earth. And that's why it becomes important because, you never know. You never know which way it's going to go. There's no guarantee. And let me also jump in and say on a practical level, of course, we pray and we move through the world and understanding that has to be number one, understanding that being listening, everything, organizing everything, like I said. But there's also a practicality in the frequency that we have camera systems, right? In rural areas, in areas that feel as though they're much safer and things don't occur in those places, they don't take as much precaution when it comes to safety. And so in the city, we have that cameras, right? So cameras on my building, every building on my block, there's cameras on the pole, there's cameras around the corner, there's cameras in the sky, there's cameras in the subway, there's cameras on the buses, there's cameras in people's hands. It's very difficult to hide about for networks, right? These electronic networks to be utilized. Be shut off with a robot. And so again, I think that what you're talking about, MK Ultra, is something that people have talked about for a long time. And it has to go back, even to the time of World War II. Even then. So I can imagine, the ideas that could exist today. Again, not supporting the theory or discounting it. I don't know one way or the other, but just information that I've heard around a particular topic. Well, and we have to also know that, look, you have to be conscious, you have to be in control of your own mind. You have to be in discipline of your own self. And yeah, there are things out there and people out there, technology out there that can be very influential, but you have to have of yourself and what it is that you want to do on a daily basis. Where you're coming from. And again, this is where prayer becomes important, and you've been able to pray 5 times a day to ask for that help, that guidance, and to make sure that you stay connected with your Lord. That's what winds up being important, because there are things out there that do that. That's what advertisement is all about. Advertisement is all about trying to get you to influence you, to make suggestions to you one way or another. And look, I got a cell phone, man. Ain't nothing on here but advertisement on my cell phone. I get messages all day.
That it, if I may, as and I think what the go a little further is, and I can't speak for people who say they're hearing voices, all right. But when they say it sounds like a radio transistor, it's not like they're going batty, and they can actually communicate back and forth. But like I say, my son, having been in the service, having whatever was done or could have been done, he takes his to the mat, to the prayer rug. Does that release him from hearing what I mean? He literally goes through conversations, and that's because, so whether they do a transistor kind of thing, like they can interface within, I don't know. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the all knowing. And maybe that durability of that device, however fibrous it can be, the durability, things only last so long, but until it's found out, when put it past the government to have, or someone to have manipulated the system to see how far they can take it.
Well, I would only say this to you, that I hear voices also. I have conversations all the time with the voices that I hear. But I understand that, the whisperer is the whisperer is the one who whispers. If the whisperer is the one that whispers. And and the question I always ask the voice is this: why don't you suggest something good to me rather than suggest something bad to you? Because whenever you talk to me, you always are suggesting something bad. I don't get to solve some of these damn problems. That's what you do.
I mean,
Allows you, and then allows once again when you start dealing with the narrative that's out here in the media and through other avenues, right? Also through other folks you may know, right, who are buying into narratives and sharing those narratives across their own personal connections, right? Those things then create dynamics amongst those individuals. And I think what we see in uh, our communities is that there is a conversation, right? There's a manifested conversation that puts together solutions. Those solutions, right? You make an effort. Yes, stopping everything, no. But there are so many things that prevented because of the so simple strategies that are being talked about and implemented consciously individuals to make sure that they address the violence that occurs. Again, I just want you to know that as I put that into Google, Google never acknowledged what I said. Right? Even though I've watched many shows where FBI full-time specialists in terrorist organizations and terrorist strategies who have worked for the FBI, the CIA, the Homeland Security Department, the New York City Police Department, counterterrorism unit. All of these people who have all of this knowledge have all said that when you think about what you are seeing in a mass shooting, the profile is a white American male between the ages of 21 and 40, whatever, 36. There is a particular profile they immediately can pull up. This is what you should know. Every time we see one of these shootings, this is what we wind up with. Now, are there somewhere they aren't that? Where, as you said, or when the black guy walked into the office downtown in Manhattan, and went to the NFL office and tripled people inside the NFL office. He had a reason for it. He had a reason. But he didn't. And he dealt with something they could connect with, right? But he again was someone you can identify and say that kind of fits within that sense of what these kinds of people do. Walk into a place and how to lose it. But even he and reassuring to them. You don't want to be too if you're still in New York City or wherever you are, you don't need too reassuring. But for a moment, that's a human being. And if you can give a human being a moment of recognition, right? It's improving time and time again. It's not the money, it's not the adjust, it's not the material stuff. But if you can give people adulation, a little bit of recognition, that gives them joy. That brings them happiness. And so I do remember that when I see people, and again, speaking to being in an urban environment, having that level of empathy for folks is another key thing that we have. It's not like you're not seen. Like how you say, oh, but that stuff doesn't happen around here. And we don't find that around here. It's so safe here. It never happens here. We don't have that luxury. Right? So you want to find moments of connection with human beings when you live in an urban environment because that one second may be the second, that Samantha, you really need it.
Yes, I agree, and it pulls on your, like you say, empathy, the empathetic stream, and at the same time, I meet young people, and I ask the question, how are you? What's your name? And they look very surprised because, and I have truly seen individuals who were looking really scruggy. And when I got to know their name, now when I see them, they're a little more cleaner. And their conversation, they give more eye contact. Like you're saying, that caring. But I have seen, though, it hasn't gotten me away from helping, but I've seen ones in wheelchairs when you're talking about the wheelchair, William. And I've seen them fold the wheelchair up and put it behind a building.
Wow. Wow.
And they go on about their business.
See that? Those are my favorite story is the one where the whole time I'm on the train riding from downtown all the way to my stop. I was getting off on 116th Street. I got off on 116th Street and I'm walking behind the guy. He's scooting with his feet down the thing to the exit. And when he goes out the exit, he gets to the stairs, gets up, grabs his wheelchair and takes it up the steps, gets up to the top, puts it back down and sits down and scoots away. If you have so long, I might be mad.
Well, maybe he can't stand long. You know what I mean? Maybe he just can't stand a long time.
Listen, when he picked it up and carried it all the way off the
and that's not my short either.
This is this guy like strong enough to carry that up. Because it wasn't just like one plank. You know how it is. I don't know how it is.
But tell everybody how the steps are. Tell us, because I know how they are, but
we gonna go up six. We gonna go up 6 steps. That's the first land, and we gonna get you the next one, and that's gonna be 30 steps.
uh-huh.
So, get out of here. Get out of here. That is our show for today. It is 1:58. I just want to say, always appreciate, hanging around with my top sister, Mark, man, with cultural insights into the American Muslim 360. It is a blast. And all the listeners, especially Sister Karan, I know you're there. I know you're there. I know you're there. Right? So I want to shout out the other listeners who are all with us. We have a wonderful time. I just want to close out by saying, make sure if you have any suggestions for future shows or for any of my segments or a new day at live.com. Don't forget to share the YouTube, youtube.com/Mr. Kivel, the Instagram.com/Mr. Kivel, and the picture is experience.com so that people can check out what we're doing with our educational program. Again, love being with everyone, and I expect to see you next Sunday right back here on the Pictures Digital Experience. All the wonderful people out there, Martha.
Alaikum assalam. Love it. Give your wife the greetings.
Say like just jump. I was believing this stuff is out of my just function. For no one to stop. It's not fearful. Exactly strategy. I'm passionate is what you do. Have a passion good salary. I'm on the battery for the last seat. Who's even those rubbers and they friends and family who want to sleep in 100. Leaving in the morning, that's for running. Yeah, imagine that round coming down the pathway. You see the spirit coming your last days. You want those last days. Under the 60s and brass days. We gonna do this and fools and hands off the cast, ladies, the brutal generations different. There's a couple of people going through these things all together. That's my first interaction with forces. It's not about talking, it's about this, it's a who you go with. Yeah.
And that is it, everyone, with Kivel. Kivel Equon and William Kareem. This is Quick Hitters with Kivel Equon. We are going to reconnect later today at 5 p.m. with Imam Kareem Hamid and Michael Hameen. We'll be sharing from the commentary of Imam Warthi Muhammad, Rahimahullah. Mercy of Almighty God be upon him at 5 p.m., reading the Ramadan sessions. Yes, so plan to be with us again today. Thank you for your being here with us. Praise be to Allah. Let's see. Kivel Equon. Kivel Equon with quick hitters. Maybe it's on Facebook. All right, we're going to make that it, everyone. Thank Allah for you. And inshallah, at 5 p.m. Assalamu alaikum.